In the cold mists of ancient Britain, a storm was quietly brewing. A fearless queen, with fire in her eyes and courage in her heart, would soon rise against the most powerful empire the world had ever known. Her name was Boudica. She would become a legend, a symbol of rebellion, a hero who would shake the foundations of the mighty Roman Empire. Let us journey back to the 1st century AD. Britain at that time was not a single nation, but a land divided, a land of tribes. Proud, fierce Celtic tribes, each with their own kings and queens, their own traditions, and their own gods. The Romans, led by Emperor Claudius, had begun their conquest of Britain around 43 AD. Slowly, steadily, they marched across the lands, building roads, forts, and cities, while demanding loyalty and taxes from the native tribes. Among these tribes was the Iceni. Their king, Prasutagus, had ruled as a loyal ally to Rome, hoping to protect his people by cooperation rather than war. But upon his death, everything changed. Prasutagus had left behind a widow, not just any widow, but a queen of indomitable spirit and burning pride. Her name was Boudica. She was tall, with long flowing hair as red as fire and piercing green eyes that seemed to look straight into your soul. She wore the traditional Celtic dress, a dark green robe embroidered with silver patterns of her tribe, and carried a bronze spear at her side. She was not just a queen. She was a warrior. When Prasutagus died, he had hoped the Romans would respect his will, which divided his lands between Rome and his family. But the Romans saw an opportunity to seize total control. They stormed into Iceni territory. They looted the kingdom, seized the lands, and to crush any hope of resistance, they publicly humiliated Boudica. She was flogged brutally, her dignity torn apart. Her daughters suffered even worse fates. But Rome had made a terrible mistake. They had awakened a fire that would not be extinguished. Rising from the ashes of her sorrow and rage, Boudica stood tall before her people. She called upon the ancient spirits of Britain. She raised her spear to the sky, her voice echoing across the hills. The Romans think they can break us, but we will show them the power of free people united in purpose. Across the lands, Celtic tribes heard her call. Tribes once divided by rivalries now stood side by side. The Trinovantes, the Cornovi, the Catuvelauni, all gathered under her banner. Her army swelled to nearly 100,000 warriors, farmers, hunters, smiths, and soldiers alike, all ready to fight for their freedom. With her daughters by her side, Boudica rode a war chariot, her fiery red hair streaming like a banner in the wind. Her eyes burned with determination. Her warriors roared with courage. Their first target, the Roman colony of Camulodunum, known today as Colchester. It was a symbol of Roman oppression, a city built on the ruins of Celtic homes. The Roman settlers, overconfident and unprepared, could not withstand the fury of Boudica and her forces. The city fell. The Roman temple to Emperor Claudius was burned to the ground. But Boudica was not done. Next, she turned her gaze to Londinium, the future London. It was a prosperous trade center, but poorly defended. Roman governor Suetonius Paulinus, realizing he could not defend it in time, ordered an evacuation. When Boudica arrived, she showed no mercy. The city was reduced to ashes. Flames and smoke filled the sky as the rebels celebrated their victory. Verulamium, modern-day St. Albans, followed the same fate. Everywhere she marched, Boudica left a trail of Roman ruins and a cry for freedom that could not be silenced. Historians believe that in total, as many as 70,000 Roman citizens and allies were killed during her rebellion. Rome, the empire of order and might, was in shock. Never had they faced such a fierce uprising in their northern territories. But the Romans were not yet defeated. Governor Suetonius, a tough and experienced commander, gathered his legions. Though outnumbered, he prepared his soldiers for one decisive battle: the Battle of Watling Street. Boudica led her massive force to face the Romans head-on. The Romans, disciplined and battle-hardened, formed a tight wedge formation. The narrow terrain worked in their favor, preventing Boudica's larger army from surrounding them. Despite the courage of the Celtic warriors, Roman tactics prevailed. The rebels fought bravely, but they were trapped and slaughtered by the relentless Roman advance. Witnessing her army's defeat, Boudica made her final, defiant choice. Rather than be captured and paraded through Rome as a trophy, she chose death on her own terms. Some say she took poison. Others say she fell in battle. But what remains clear is this: her spirit was never broken. Boudica became more than just a warrior queen. She became a symbol of resistance, a legend of freedom,